It's the first really cold night of the year. The house won't warm up and you head down to the basement to check the furnace. Behind the little window on the front panel, a light is blinking. 3 times, a pause, then 3 more. On almost every furnace built in the last 25 years, 3 blinks points to one part, the pressure switch. But here's what a rushed repair quote won't tell you. That switch is usually working just fine. It's taking the blame for something else. 3 blinks means the furnace tried to start, checked one thing it cares about, didn't like the answer, and shut itself off before lighting any gas. The thing it checks is the pressure switch. So the real question is never whether the switch is bad, it's what the switch caught. And most of the time, what set it off is cheap to deal with. So let's go through it the way a technician actually would, starting with the checks that cost nothing and working up toward the parts. Before you touch anything, confirm the code. Count the blinks against the little chart printed on the inside of your furnace door. Some control boards flash a 2-digit code, so 3 short blinks and 1 long blink is really code 31, which is still the pressure switch. The one brand to double check is Rheem or Ruud. On those, 3 blinks means an open limit switch instead, which is an overheating problem. And there the first thing to check is a dirty air filter choking off the airflow. For everybody else, Goodman, Carrier, Bryant, Trane, American Standard, and Lennox, 3 blinks is the pressure switch, and that's the furnace we're working on here. Here's what that switch actually does, because it explains the rest. When the heat kicks on, a small motor called the draft inducer spins up first and pulls a light vacuum through the furnace. A thin rubber hose carries that vacuum over to the pressure switch, and if the pull is strong enough, the switch clicks closed and tells the control board the exhaust is really moving. Only then does the board open the gas and light the burners. Weak vacuum, and the switch stays open, and the board never lets any gas out. That is the whole point of it. The switch is confirming your exhaust is leaving the house before it lets anything burn, so you're not the one breathing it. So when it blinks 3 times, the inducer ran, but the switch never closed. The most common reason, and the one the pros run into constantly, is almost too simple. The little port where the hose connects, or the hose itself, gets plugged with gunk or a bit of condensate, or the hose cracks and goes brittle. The vacuum leaks out or never makes it through. With the power off, pull the hose and take a look. Cracked or hardened rubber gets trimmed back or swapped for about $1. A plugged port gets cleared with a stiff wire or a straightened paper clip. And I mean that literally. That little bent wire is the real fix on a huge number of these. One thing to be careful with: never blow into the hose while it's still on the switch, because the diaphragm inside is delicate, and you can ruin a good switch doing it. If your furnace has white or black plastic exhaust pipes, it's a high efficiency model, and those make water when they run. That water drains through a small trap, and the trap loves to clog. When it does, water backs up inside the furnace until it climbs past the switch port and trips the code. Pull the trap and expect a mess, because half a gallon of backed up water is normal, so keep a bucket under it. Flush it until the water runs clean through every port. Carrier and Bryant traps are notorious for this, so if that's your brand, look at the trap early. Now head outside for a minute. Those plastic pipes end somewhere on the wall or the roof, and they block up more than you'd expect. A wasp nest, a plug of packed snow after the first storm even, and I'm serious here, a tennis ball someone found wedged in the pipe. Any of it chokes the draft and throws the same 3 blinks. If you've got the older metal exhaust instead, check up at the chimney cap for ice or a bird's nest. This costs nothing and takes 2 minutes, so do it before you spend a dime on parts. If the port is clear, the trap is clean, and the vents are open, now you're finally looking at the inducer motor itself. It might be spinning but too weak to pull a solid vacuum with worn bearings or a wheel packed with grime, or it might barely be turning at all. And this is where the most expensive mistake on this whole problem gets made. Here's the trap people fall into. You clear the port or you jump the switch to force the furnace to run, and heat comes back. So you decide the switch was bad and you buy a new one. But slow down for a second. Getting heat that way only proves the switch and its wiring can work. It does not prove the switch is what failed. If the real problem is a weak inducer that can't pull enough vacuum, a brand new switch fixes nothing. I've watched furnaces get a new pressure switch, then a new gas valve, then a whole new control board, and still blink 3 times because a cracked hose was the actual fault the entire time. So if a technician takes one look at 3 blinks and tells you to replace the switch, or worse, floats the idea of a new furnace, get a second opinion. That switch is the part 1D bet against, not the one I'd replace first. A quick word on jumping the switch, since half the videos out there walk you through it. It's fine as a test, or to limp through one night while a part ships. It is never a permanent fix. That switch is your carbon monoxide backstop, and if you bypass it while the vent is actually plugged, you've just told a furnace with nowhere to send its fumes to keep running anyway. Only jump it after you've confirmed the vents are clear, and then pull the jumper right back off. On money, this is usually a cheap problem in an expensive-looking costume. Clearing a port, a trap, or a vent costs you nothing but an afternoon. A pressure switch runs about $15 to $80 for the part, or $150 to $400 installed. The inducer motor is the pricey one, roughly $400 to over $1,000 installed, which is the whole reason you rule out the free stuff first. I've seen this quoted like a major repair when the actual fix was a wet vacuum and 10 minutes. The rule for calling a pro is simple. Clearing clogs and swapping a hose is yours. Testing the vacuum with a gauge, or replacing the inducer or the gas valve, goes to someone with the tools. 9 times out of 10, 3 blinks is a clog, not a catastrophe. Clear the switch port, flush the trap, walk outside and eyeball the vents, and the burners usually fire right back up. Hold off on the checkbook until you've actually confirmed the inducer is weak, which is honestly the one part of this you want to be slow about. If it does come down to parts, the pressure switch, a condensate trap kit, and that little vacuum hose are linked in the description so you can order the right one for your furnace the first time.